Yesterday was a huge day in Washington and for news in general. And we've got Donald Trump's proof of life press conference video. We've got J.B. Pritzker out there just informing everybody that Chicago's about to be invaded. And also Congress is back in session, and what that means is that Khanna and Thomas Massie are doing everything they can to get these Epstein Files released. Now, I want you to just keep this in mind. They released a shitload of files, and Donald Trump is talking about, hey, we released 60,000 pages of documents. We've released all this stuff. But here's the crux of it. That's already been released. It's already public knowledge. Everything that they re-released, it reminds me of the binders that they gave to Chaya Raichik and Jack Posobiec back, I believe it was in February, and they come outside the White House holding binders, and then they obviously hadn't opened them up yet, because if you open it up, it's just a whole bunch of redacted shit. And they were pissed off about it because they thought that they were holding the Holy Grail, but they weren't holding anything. And ultimately, that's what this huge document dump is. It's everybody that's already looked through is like, this is all the shit that we already know. It's already out there. They're doing everything they can. Now, also keep this in mind. While Thomas Massie and Khanna and all of the Epstein victims were out on the Capitol steps giving a huge press conference that lasted like 2 hours. Everybody was speaking, including Marjorie Taylor Greene and all of those victims. We'll get to that in a second. But while that was going on, you got Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. He's giving a press conference in the inside the building, trying to distract from it, although it really didn't work. Nobody was really paying attention to that. They were paying attention to all these victims out here having a conversation. But he's, we're trying to be transparent, and, we're going to pass a non-binding resolution to release all the files. The key word in that is non-binding, which means that they are not going to be releasing it. Oh, hell, man, everybody would sign a non-binding resolution, even the Republicans, because they know it's just a way to stretch this out as long as possible. And they're doing it for one man and one man only, and that's Donald Trump, because everybody knows that he's all over these fucking files, including him. So he's doing everything he can to make sure that that doesn't get done. And Mike Johnson is his little puppet, his little butt boy, and he's doing everything he can to make sure that it doesn't get done, all the while acting like they're trying to get some shit done. So anyway, we got this little video here. It's just a little quick compilation of the victims that are out front giving a little bit of a speech. So we can get this thing to play. Come on, baby, play.
President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. Please use that influence and power to help us.
Please, President Trump, pass this bill and help us. Make us feel like our voices are finally being heard.
This is not just my story. It is about every survivor who carries invisible scars. It's about the weight we live with daily. It is about the families broken and the futures stolen. So I ask you, President Trump and members of Congress, why do we continue to cover up sexual abuse and assault? Who are we covering for?
Donald Trump. That's who we're covering.
Let the public know the truth.
Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican. Not that that matters, because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
So this is a...
Sweetheart, he knows this is not a hoax. He knows he's all over these damn files. Now, I've got a longer clip of Donald Trump answering the question to this, so this is a little short one. I'm just going to skip over that, and we're going to move on to the next thing here. By the way, like I said, this thing was over 2 hours of video of these people. I'll just give you a quick example.
It's how we will secure this nation's future. And the world is watching. And before I step away, I wanted to add one quick thought. Let's stop calling it an Epstein client list. And let's call it what it actually is. It's Epstein's sex spire list.
Look, these ladies are already talking about coming up with their own list of those people that have sexually molested them. when they were younger on Little St. James on Epstein's Island. All of these women, and there are dozens of them. There are dozens of them. You got this one.
Grip, stability, precision. That's the essence of driving. Lawfin.
This is not partisan. However, this is very political, as the only path to justice is through our political system.
Like, I'm not going to play this. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and play a 2-hour video. You could watch this on your own. I'm just saying that there were dozens and dozens and dozens of women out there doing this. Now, we also have this right here. This is the outside the Capitol steps. Again, it's Khanna. We've got Khanna and Thomas Massie that were putting this together. And surprisingly, you can see Marjorie Taylor Greene right back here too. And she actually speaks at this as well. I'm just going to play you the Khanna part of it because, you know, he's really the only one, in my opinion, that I really give a shit about. But he says a couple things here. Let's just get to it.
Speaking at a news conference, there you see Congressman Khanna alongside Congressman Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's listen.
For their tireless work in the pursuit of justice, and I want to thank Sarah Drury on my team for working with them. Above all, I want to thank the survivors who are here today, whose courage and strength have brought us to this moment. I want to thank my co-lead, Congressman Thomas Massie, and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene for standing with survivors here today. Today, as you can see...
Look, real quick, people that are out there giving Marjorie Taylor Greene credit, just know that I think the reason why is because the bar is so low for her. She has been a scourge. She's not good. I mean, just a couple of days ago, she was calling trans people demons. This is not a good lady. I mean, of course, we all remember the whole space laser bullshit and, you know, the Jewish cable, because she doesn't know how to say cabal, but the Jewish cabal out there, and she's very anti-Semitic. She's just not a really great person. But I will give her credit for coming out here and standing with all these people. She has been having a little bit of a fallout with Donald Trump. But here's the thing. With the Republican Party and how they're kind of seemingly hiding all of these files and trying to make sure that it's not coming out. And she says everything that she needs to say except for one name and one name only, and that's Donald Trump. She will not say anything about Donald Trump. The moment she starts going, I think Donald Trump is involved in this shit and his name is in the fucking file, then we can have a different conversation. But I mean, I have never seen her apologize for the shit she did to AOC. I never seen her apologize for her chasing down David Hogg. Remember David Hogg from the Parkland school shooting? And she followed him down the street before she was even a congressperson. And she's giving him shit after this guy just went through a school massacre and lost like 19 of his friends, and she's hunting him down because he's trying to do something about, easy access to guns. And, she made a complete ass out of herself, and she didn't apologize for any of that stuff either. So it's really, really hard for me to want to give her some goddamn credit for this shit. Anyway, let's listen to what Khanna's got to say.
In restoring trust in government. We're here not as partisans, we're here as patriots. We begin the work of bringing this country together, progressives, independents, moderates, and yes, MAGA supporters, to demand truth and justice. A nation that allows rich and powerful men to traffic and abuse young girls without
It's called the United States.
Is a nation that has lost its moral and spiritual core.
And we lost that shit a long time ago.
Americans are asking a very simple question. How is it possible that in the richest, most powerful country in the world, there are corrupt special interest forces, both foreign or domestic, that are preventing the release, that have a stranglehold on our government and are preventing the release of the full Epstein Files?
Well, I mean, you kind of answer your question right there. We are the richest, most powerful country in the world, and one of the reasons is because we are just drowning in special interest, dark money. I believe Thomas Massie, he was giving an interview. I couldn't find it or else I would show you, but he was giving an interview that same day on the Capitol steps, and he was talking about how There's this special interest, this is wealthy billionaire who is in the Little Black Book. The Little Black Book was Jeffrey Epstein's butler. Excuse me. He absconded with Jeffrey Epstein's Little Black Book with all the phone numbers of all of his supposed clients. And he made off with that. That's what ended up in the Gawker release like 10 years ago. And Thomas Massie was saying that one of the billionaires in that black book has started up a PAC trying to get him out of office because he's going after these wealthy billionaires that were friends with Jeffrey Epstein and very likely were on that island diddling little girls.
There is something that is rotten in Washington.
No doubt.
Less than 1% of these files have been released. We are demanding today on the discharge petition that all of the files be released. We know we have 212 Democrats and we have 4 Republicans, courageous Republicans.
I mean, just listen how pathetic that is. That is every Democrat, which, by the way, it would be 215, which would mean that they would have enough. If they had 4 Republicans and 215 Democrats, that would have been enough to make this happen. But we lost this year alone 3 Democratic Congresspeople due to old age, because we do not know how to elect young people. We just keep putting septuagenarians and octogenarians in power and just leaving them there. That's another story.
Like Thomas Massie, Nancy Mace, who was so emotional yesterday after...
Look, I have nothing but vitriol for Nancy Mace, but she is, I will give her... I don't want to say I give her credit, but I will give her a little bit of leeway because she is a sexual assault survivor, and I can sympathize and empathize with that. It's no bueno, let me tell you. And obviously she was, I don't know if she was going to vote for it before, but she did meet with some of these victims and she walked out in tears. There's a video of her just walking down a hallway, and it wasn't like crocodile tears. Her whole face was punch red, like, her face looked like a punching bag. She had been crying so hard, and it obviously had an effect on her, so she is voting for this.
Talking to the survivors, Congresswoman Boebert and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I mean, it's baffling that the 3 craziest ladies in Congress, Republican crazy ladies in Congress, Boebert, Beetlejuice, Bopper, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Nancy Mace, all of them are batshit crazy, but they all signed on to this, so they obviously give somewhat of a shit about what's hidden in these Epstein files.
2 more signatures to force the release. So we gather here on the steps of the Capitol to confront these corrupt forces.
Look, let's just skip ahead. Let's just see what Marjorie Greene has to say, just so I can, give her credit and then critique the shit out of it. Play, goddammit.
Good morning. This is my 5th year in Congress, and this is the largest press conference that I've seen since I've been here. And this is because this is an issue that matters so much to Americans. This is an issue that doesn't have political boundaries. It's an issue that Republicans and Democrats should never fight about.
It's got one boundary. His name is Donald J. Trump.
As a matter of fact, it's such an important issue that it should bring us all together. It's grieved me to watch the arguments and debates take place among my colleagues and even the administration. I think this is something that is worth fighting for. You see, the women behind me are going to tell you stories that you've never heard before. These are unimaginable horrors that they've lived with for their entire lives since they were very, very young. But these are also similar stories that many children, teenagers, women, and even men are enduring nightmares right now as we speak. You see, these women have been fighting since the 1990s. I heard one woman tell us yesterday since 1996. And
there was a woman that I can't remember her name. She didn't. We don't know her by her real name because she has an alias. She was going to come out a couple of months ago and give a press conference, but she got threatened by a bunch of MAGA people, and she decided not to do it because it's scary as hell. So she did not do it. All of these women here are brave as shit for coming forward, because you know they're going to get a shitload of backlash for this. There is a contingent of MAGA that does not care that Donald Trump, whether he diddled young girls or not, they don't care. There was a time, I did a story maybe last month where Donald Trump had a private model viewing, and there were only 2 people there, and it was Trump and Epstein. They shared a girlfriend. If I'm not mistaken, what's the guy's name that did the Jesus, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank, but he did a bunch of interviews with Jeffrey Epstein, audio interviews, 100 hours worth of audio interviews, and Michael Wolff, sorry. And he, he swears up and down that, Epstein, he's got the tapes. We listened to some of those tapes where Epstein said he was best friends with Donald Trump. This goes back a long way, but that they shared girlfriends, that Epstein had sex with Melania before Donald Trump and he met, that Donald Trump met Melania on the Lolita Express, which was Jeffrey Epstein's private plane that went back and forth to Little St. James. I mean, all of this shit is so goddamn incestuous, is so fucking dark. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, no matter what she's saying here, she is not saying one name. And that's the name that really fucking matters. Now, let's move on from this, and I want to show you the response that that Donald Trump gave here. Jesus, I hope you don't make me play a goddamn commercial again. I think you are.
Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that matters.
This here.
And I will meet him halfway.
Right now, there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents.
I mean, look, Donald Trump is obviously not happy about this. He is really tight about this. And you're going to see after they ask this question that he is, I mean, first of all, he's going to obfuscate the hell out of this, but he is visibly angry. And honestly, I think behind those eyes is fear. He is scared shitless about this information coming out.
And Thomas Massie, who is sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow-walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this look, they're trying to give him a little bit of plausible deniability here. They're like, we're not saying that you're in the files, but are there a whole bunch of your very wealthy businessman-like friends that are going to be implicated in this? Is that why you're not allowing this stuff to come out? They're just trying to be gentle and treat him with kid gloves, as opposed to going, motherfucker, we know that you in this file. We know you're all over the damn thing. Well, this here's bullshit ass excuse.
Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat.
Yes, everybody's already seen this. These thousands of pages, this big, huge dump, I just established a minute ago, all of that stuff is already in the public record. And you heard Khanna saying it's about 1% of all of the stuff. There are nobody of import or of note, no billionaire, wealthy types that have their information out there. It's just low-level shit. And Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Everybody else has got their asses covered at this point, including this guy right here.
Because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation.
Why aren't you talking about the things that I want to talk about? Why aren't you talking about the raging success that America's going through? While jobs are decreasing and unemployment is going up and the stock market is going down and the tariffs are going up and the economy's in the fucking crapper. But why aren't you talking about how wonderful I am? Why aren't you patting me on the head and telling me I'm a good, strong boy and my dick is really big? How come you're not talking about that? I don't want to talk about the Epstein thing. Talk about me positively. Stroke my ego.
I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., it's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art.
What the fuck are you talking about? It's a term, the safe zone. It's a term of art. Yeah, man, we can really stop crime in D.C. All we got to do is, just employ the military. Ooh, I got a better way. Why don't we employ a curfew? Just everybody's got to be in their house by 7 o'clock at night. That'll stop crime. Oh, I got a better way. I know a way we can really stop crime. Why don't we put a surveillance camera in everybody's home? We could really stop crime then. Just like Ben Franklin said, you give up your freedom for a little bit of security. Eventually, you will have no freedom or security.
It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street now and nothing's going to happen.
Honey, it was down 30%. Crime was down 30% in Washington, D.C. It's a bullshit-ass excuse. I'm sorry to keep interrupting.
No murders, no nothing. Because we had a lot of problems with certain places, and we still do.
Honey, she asked you about Epstein, goddammit. She asked you about the people outside that are talking about Epstein. Why are we talking about this? I have a good idea why we're not talking about that.
Run by Democrats, or for the most part, run by Democrats. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is...
You heard that one woman, she says, I'm a registered Republican, so it's not about politics. But Donald Trump doesn't care about that. He's just going to say that they're all Democrats, and it's a Democratic hoax to give his base some plausible deniability. See, it's all about those damn Democrats. They're just making this stuff up. It's all fake news. Donald Trump told me it was fake news.
People to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7.
You did not end 7 fucking wars, man. I mean, the top one that he talks about all the time is India and Pakistan. And they interviewed Modi about that, the president of India, and he's like, motherfucker, he didn't call me. And they asked Pakistan, and it's like, he didn't call me either. We worked this shit out on our own. But Donald Trump's taking credit for stopping that war. And it wasn't even a war yet. It was a skirmish. Whatever. All of the stuff that he talked, just why don't you talk about all of the good stuff that I am telling you I did? He ends wars except for the one in Venezuela he just started.
Nobody's going to talk about because they're going to talk about the Epstein whatever. Sir, I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files.
Already released.
And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough because I think we should talk about
that means I'm done with this. I'm not going to release any more files. I think that's enough. All the stuff we've already released in the past, I just re-released it to you, and I think that's enough to stop asking me about this bullshit.
Greatness of our country and the success that we're having. I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from 2 people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever.
I don't know what.
And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein.
You don't get to say what I want to talk about. When a reporter asks you a question, they have a valid reason for asking you that question. You are not supposed to be. I mean, Donald Trump is hostile as fuck to the press, but you do not get to go, I don't want to talk about that. I'd rather talk about this. Maybe we do now. I mean, maybe it's just fascism. Maybe Donald Trump is just, I don't want to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about it. Why aren't you praising me, and calling me the most wonderful, dear leader of all time? Anyway, let's see. I got something else here, I think. Yeah. Just to reiterate what I was talking about a second ago. Here, let's play a couple of minutes.
Epstein and his accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell will make their voices heard this morning on Capitol Hill. They're part of a Stand With Survivors rally. Just yesterday, the House committee investigating Epstein released a trove of files related to the convicted sex offender. Comes as the Trump administration faces mounting pressure to release more information about his case. Now, the content of all the records was not immediately clear, but many of these files have already been made public.
Democrat Ro Khanna and Republican Thomas Massie are leading a bipartisan push in the House for the release of the Epstein Files. They will hold a press conference with some of Epstein's victims after that rally this morning. Khanna had this to say on MSNBC last night.
This is not partisan. This is not anti-Trump. This is about standing with survivors. This is about protecting kids. This is about morality.
For more on this, let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona, who joins us with the latest. Mel, good morning. So first, what more can you tell us about this batch of documents the House committee released last night? Anything new or newsworthy here?
Yeah, good morning, guys. It does appear that after an NBC News review of these files, that most of what was released yesterday was already publicly available information. So things like public court filings and transcripts from the trials, investigative files from the Palm Beach Police Department. Now, there were some...
It's just a document dump. This is just a big, fat document dump to say, hey, we've released thousands and thousands of pages of documents. Good luck sifting through all this shit. It turns out we've already sifted through all this shit. Every one of these pages is just a copy of a page that has already been out. It's yet again another way to waste time and kick this can down the road, like what Mike Johnson is doing. You know, just going out there, hey, we're being transparent. We're trying to do a non-binding resolution, which means that we're never going to do it. We're never going to do it.
Logs. That may have been the only real new piece of information from Epstein's plane. Some of that information was already available, but what they released yesterday appears to be more current than what had already been publicly available. That being said, it doesn't say who was actually on the plane, just lists the number of people, does indicate that there were both males and females on that plane, in addition to Epstein, of course. And overall, of these, some 30,000 pages of documents, it represents only a fraction of what the DOJ overall has in its possession that relates to this case. So the question is whether the DOJ is going to be handing over more files to the House Oversight Committee, which did issue a subpoena for the documents related to this case. The DOJ...
Look, we're rehashing stuff that I've already talked about. Do I think that this is going to get released? Honestly, if I had to make a bet, no. I don't think so. Right now, I believe that they still need 3 more votes, Republican votes, because they've got all the Democrats to get this ball started. But there will be obstacles after obstacles, and Republicans will do everything they can to block this. When you've got an entire branch of the government that is completely sycophantic and just cucked to the president. Doesn't matter how badly the American public wants to see this stuff. This has been going on for decades. We've been talking about the Epstein Files for as long as I can fucking remember. And finally, it's starting to get really, really close to the main players, Trump included, and they are rich, they are powerful, and they are going to do everything they can to stop this from happening. I praise Khanna and even Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene for at least doing this small thing, even though it's probably not very small. It's probably really hard what they're doing. And they're struggling to get those extra couple of votes that they need to get this out. But are we ever going to see these files? I mean, look, I'm cynical at this point. Honestly, I don't know if we will ever see that stuff. But I know for damn sure if it does get released, we're going to see Donald Trump all over this damn thing, which is why he is fighting so goddamn hard to stop it. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.